Hello once again. This is Sean at Backflow Supply out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And I have another assembly that somebody brought in to me to take a look at. This is a Febco 825Y. These have been around for a long time, and this one in particular has been installed for a long time, the customer said. Anything beyond rubbers, it's an expensive valve to repair if you're having to replace the poppet assemblies or the relief valve assembly. But those shouldn't be too common to have to do that. And originally these did not have replaceable seats. These are just machined in seats. But now they have made them so that they do have replaceable seats for the checks. And the relief valve has always been a replaceable seat. So let's turn this on and see what happens. He has changed all the rubbers out of it. He's changed the complete relief valve assembly. So let's just turn this on and see what happens. And I'll try not to get in front of the camera like I did on the last one I did. Let's turn the water on to it with the ball valve. The outlet is off. So we have some discharge coming out of the relief valve a little bit. I'm going to try and move this down here so you can see. So let's turn on the number 4 test cock and see if it stops. Find which one of those hoses. I actually hooked that one. Oh, that's right. Okay, so turning that on has stopped that leaking, I think. There was a residual drip, but I'm not seeing any more. So that means there's something going on in the number 1 check. So let's turn this off again. We'll turn the inlet water off. So we'll just open up these test cocks and let that relief valve drain before we open this up. And we'll close those back up so I don't forget when I turn it back on. So we know the problem's in the number 1 check when the relief valve stopped leaking. Okay, so I finally got that loosened enough. That never should have been on quite that tight, especially when it was just done. Take a look here and see what we have going on. So that's what we get when we take the cover off. Number 1 spring comes out, and then the poppet is in there. Before we take a close look at that disc, let's take a look at that seat. It looks kind of rough as I'm looking through the lens of the camera. And I'm going to run my finger across the seat, my fingernail, just to kind of see what I can feel. I know you're not seeing that very well down in there, But I can't hold a flashlight, a camera, and run my fingernail all at the same time. But it does just feel kind of rough. So this is the old machined in one. Now let me put this back on the tripod. So I don't know if you can see, but right here there's some flake of green, and that's nothing more than just the scale that was breaking off in there. But I have to wonder if that's truly the problem, though. Those of you that watched that Wilkins 975 XL repair, I had tried to do the repair, and when I edited it, I had said things I didn't want to say, or I didn't say it in the right way, or should have said things, and by the time I was done editing it, I needed to redo the whole thing. And so I tried to make it do the same thing it was doing originally, and I couldn't do it even by putting the old ding disc back in. And I put an older disc in that had quite a few tears in it, and it still didn't make it leak like it was. But I can see some rough spots all over in this disc. We might just flip this over and try it again to see what happens. And if that doesn't work, I may try a piece of sandcloth or an SOS pad or something to see if I can't clean up that seat a little bit and see if that's the issue. If that's the case, then it's probably just done. Like I said, the customer told me this has been in for years, and I would say at least going on 2 decades from what I recall him telling me when he called in. So let's just try this. And while we have it apart, let's flush this out a little bit. Let's see if we can get anything else. Put that back in. Put the spring back in. The cover. And we won't put this on as tight as it was. Remember, they're O-ring sills, and so you don't have to crank down on them real tight. It's just a nice snug fit. Put this back on this little jig. Everything's turned off. So now it seems like it's just about the same, if not worse. And just open up the number 4 test cock again and just see if it stops. So it does, so it looks like it's just an issue with that number 1 check. So I'm going to take that apart again, and see, there it goes again, dripping. So I want to take that apart again and see if we can clean that seat up a little bit. So I'm going to try something here and see if it'll work. I've seen kind of a tool like this before. Much nicer, built right. But they always tell you shouldn't do this anyway. Or at least I've heard that. I don't know if it's still the same or not. But I took a different model poppet and I just cut a green SOS pad to put here. And I want to see if I can just take it and gently twist it around on this seat. and see if maybe we can clean that up just a little bit. This may ruin it. He's already replaced the assembly, but he was curious as to what was going on, and I am too, and so I told him to bring it to me if he wanted to. The problem is keeping equal pressure as you're doing it, and to be able to do it consistently all the way around. It would be helpful too if this tool, which I recall seeing, it came up out farther so that your hand is up here. That would definitely give you more control, but I just am using an old poppet out of another brand even. And it is pretty nicked up down here on the bottom. I can feel that and I can see it better. How rough that seat is. Even without me putting extra light in there, can you see the dark spots? I think I was hitting the higher spots, but there's lower spots, which tells me it's not an even seat. See if the light makes it any better or worse to see. I think it makes it worse. So I don't know if this is salvageable or not. Now let's turn it on and flush it, and we'll put it back together and just see what happened. If it's worse or better or not at all, and you'd have to decide if it's worth your time to even do this. Okay, so make sure that's going straight across. Let's turn this back on. Move it down here just so you can see. So it didn't make it any better or worse. It just wants to leak out of there. So I would say that this assembly is done. It's a machining issue. That's unfortunate. Well, not every job is going to turn out successful, unfortunately, but we gave it a go. There's nothing else in there that would be causing this. It has to be those seats. So I'll let the customer know and we'll end the video there. I hope that this might have given you some insights into these, at least how that portion comes apart, which as you can see is not much different than the Wilkins 975XL or the Apollo Combraco, however you know the name by, the 4200 series or RP40 series. Click on your comment or click on the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when more are coming out, and please leave comments down below so I know what you think of what I'm doing, what I could do different, any suggestions that you might have, and thank you. Have a good day.